Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So just here doing another little piece on kind of, book page images and things like that kind of being used in your journals. So I thought what we would do is have a look at using kind of, the fussy cut kind of images from your pieces. Obviously kind of, over the time, we've used lots of things like kind of fussy cut birds from bird books and things. I know that I've seen lots of people using the toadstools, which actually, let me just bring in this book to kind of share with you. I managed to pick this up the other day from a charity shop, and it's got some awesome mushroom illustrations. Oops, they're all the kind of drawings. There were some bigger ones here. Here we go. So lots of really, these are not particularly cool. Here we go. We're now getting more into the kind of cooler images. So I know that I've seen lots of people using these kinds of toadstool-y images in their journals and things. But I thought what we'd do is have a look at kind of using other fussy cut images. So I've got this one here from the Victoria Plum one that I thought we'll have a look at kind of using that as a fussy cut piece. And then the other thing is I want to just quickly share this book with you. It's actually the second time that I've purchased this book because I loved it so much. So I'd managed to get it, oh gosh, a long time ago from a charity shop. And I used, kind of so many of the images, pretty much the whole book, I think, in the end. So I bought another copy of it. I got it, I think, from just eBay or Amazon. It might have been this second copy, but I absolutely love it. It's got these small pictures kind of all throughout it, and obviously it's kind of through the ages. But obviously for me, I love all these images of the kind of architecture and things, and it's filled with those kinds of images. So there's absolutely loads and loads and loads of really useful kind of pictures that I think, I find useful throughout the whole book. So loads of different kind of pictures that you can use. I mean, obviously it's not really worth it if you would have to spend a lot to buy it, but I think I managed to pick up this copy for, kind of £2 or £3, not very much at all. So for me, it was kind of well worth it because it's got, more than enough images for me to use for that sort of cost in the first place. So loads of great images. So that's that book there. So I've already torn out a couple of the pages, oops, that I thought we could kind of have a look at. So I've just torn out these couple of pages here. Let me just check that I'm in frame, particularly with this lower picture. Yep. Okay. So obviously so far we've kind of used the smaller kind of pictures of some kind of buildings where we've kind of cut around in its entirety. So I thought what we'll do is we can have a look at, kind of fussy cutting unusual kind of pictures out. So, and what I just mean by unusual is, just really kind of not florals, not your toadstools, not the, the birds and things like that, but some other kind of more, just different kind of images, which, I just absolutely love how these kinds of things look. So, they may not be to everybody's cup of tea, of course, but I just thought we'd kind of have a look. So now, if you can see, I've cut off the weather vane from up there because that would just be too fiddly to kind of cut down. So I will probably do the same here because obviously, it's just too fiddly to kind of cut that out, and I would have lots of kind of white space left. So just kind of cut those off. Just cut around this one. Oops, like that. Now I'm including these little side buildings on this, but I may kind of get rid of them in a minute. So, we'll kind of see how this is going to look, but I may cut those off. So that's the first one. I will probably bin this because I don't think I'm going to use this man, although I may use him on a tag one day, so perhaps I will hoard him just for maybe a later use. So that's one of the buildings, and then this one here I just thought we'd cut off kind of the bottom, and then we'll cut this kind of street seam down at the top, kind of along the roof line, like that. Okay. And that one. I mean, obviously, you know, anything goes kind of in a junk journal, so, you know, you could kind of have anything really fussy cut around. I mean, obviously some things lend themselves slightly better than others, I think. But definitely, right, there's no other pictures on there, so I've seen that. Some things lend themselves slightly better than others, but, you know, I thought we'll just have a look. Oh, by the way, just quickly, I was so lucky. My friend who does nails actually did my nails with that, I think it's called shellac, like the nail polish. I've never had that done before, so she very kindly did them for me this morning. So I'm just kind of flaunting my new nails off, really. So yeah, really, really kind of her. Right. We'll cut this down. Sorry, I didn't explain. This is just some decoupage napkin, which I have done onto this plain white cardstock. Now this is, I don't know what the thickness of this is. It feels pretty thick to me. So, you know, this is possibly 220 GSM, something like that. It's pretty thick. So I'm going to cut this side down because I want to marry my buildings with the napkin. So I'm going to definitely get rid of this building here that's on this side. That's gone. And I may then get rid of this one as well. We'll just kind of have a look. So I'll do them one at a time, otherwise I'm going to get kind of in a bit of a muddle. So that's my first one, and I also have decoupaged a different napkin here. Aren't these napkins gorgeous? I kind of went through a phase of buying napkins, and you know, I kind of haven't really used them necessarily kind of to their full extent. But I do really love them. You know, you can get such pretty ones, can't you? So I just thought these are going to be brilliant with these buildings. Okay, so what we want to do is trim these down so that they're not quite so big on the piece itself. So, I mean, this one is fine. If I just trim this kind of edge off, this one is fine. So I'm going to get rid of that kind of to the side like that. And then this one, I just want to check which kind of side of the buildings that I like best. So I quite like this half as opposed to kind of those. So I'm just going to kind of snip these down like that. Okay. Should really hang on to that, but I'm going to be really strong and bin it. And I'm just going to get rid of that other kind of roof that's just kind of to the side. So there we go. Just looks slightly better now. So I just need to kind of decide which napkin I want which building on. Doesn't matter. I'm sure that, you know, they would be fine on either. I think I like them that way round, actually, that they were. So this one here, for example, and I'm just going to trim this down, I think. So I'm going to just cut it kind of pretty much kind of down the middle. Like that. Just trim that across the top. Okay. And then the same with this one. I think I'm just going to kind of trim it down, probably across here and then down. So just kind of take that like that. Oh my gosh, I have made a horrible job of cutting that. I don't know what my eyes were seeing there. Not good. Not good at all. Right, cut that down there. And then I'm just going to trim it down this side where the kind of edge of the napkin was. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I think, let me check I'm in frame, is I'm going to just stamp around on these, you know, what effectively are going to be tags, or I guess they could be used as, you know, why am I losing my words today? Tuck spots and things like that in your journals. So I'm just going to ink around the edges, or not ink, sorry, stamp around the edges, just with, again, my favourite corner stamp. I'm going to try and be careful of my nails because I don't want to kind of spoil them on the first day I've had them done. I'm not very careful when it comes to, you know, things like nails, so, you know, it doesn't normally matter because obviously I just kind of redo them, but I'm going to try and take a bit more care of them today. Right, so that's that one. Just do a bit of stamping on this one. Just really shows it's got a bit more interest going on. There we go. And then, see, look, because that's the very juicy ink pad. I'm now covered in it, but hopefully my nails are still fine. So, right. Checking my glue wasn't clogged up. So I'm going to glue this, oops, just on here. I mean, I could have used Mod Podge to be fair, but I'll just go with just some glue. Okay, so that's that one. Oops, like that. And then we'll just use this one here. Okay, now we're going to stick this. I'm going to kind of stick it quite close to the edge. Could actually have it right touching the edge actually. Kind of butted up against there. Oh my gosh, my hands are covered in black already. How does that happen? I don't really see other people get in quite such a terrible state when they're crafting, but must just be something to do with me, I think. Right. So we've got those, and then obviously, you know, I don't want to kind of leave them completely plain like that. So I'm just going to kind of pull in a couple of stamped things that I've kind of brought along with me for the purposes of doing the video. And we'll just kind of maybe add a couple of little bits and bobs just to kind of decorate this up slightly. So what I'm going to do first is rough the edge, because I like that kind of texture going on. So it's just making it slightly more interesting. Like that. Okay. Oops. So, hope everyone's doing well. Hope you've all been having a nice time, kind of doing some fun stuff. Oops. Obviously I'm uploading, or you know, I'm filming these ahead so that I can film these and then upload them over the summer. So some of what I talk about might be irrelevant by the time I upload this, but not so much these days because we have things like catch up. So if I mention things on TV, they may be kind of a few weeks old by the time this goes live. So what have I been watching recently? I've been watching something called Killing Eve. it seemed really popular. Again, I mean, that's over here in the UK. I don't know whether it would be available kind of elsewhere. It was really popular. Everyone absolutely loved it, and I quite liked it. I've got still a couple of episodes to go actually at this point, so I've quite liked it. There's something about it that's a bit kind of extreme for me. Well, obviously it's extreme because it's kind of this woman who's this assassin. I think it's maybe a bit thin on the ground, kind of story-wise. You know, she literally is just going around killing people. So the story's a little bit kind of thin on the ground. I mean, it's kind of done in this jokey, light-hearted kind of way, you know. And then she has this kind of strong connection with, you know, one of the investigators kind of thing. And I think maybe I'm not overly believing the chemistry kind of between the two of them. I can't really see what, you know, what would have kind of drawn her to this other kind of investigator. So I think for me that's kind of spoiling it slightly. I don't know why I'm finding it a struggle to kind of pick up their chemistry, because obviously it's really popular. I mean, it has a really good following. You know, a few people at work had said how good it was. My mum had said how good it was. So that was why I thought, oh, I'm going to give it a try. And I had already tried it previously and kind of couldn't really get into it. But I thought, oh, that's because I'm still doing things, you know, like I'm still crafting or I'm still on my laptop. I need to kind of put things down and actually focus on it. And then I'll, you know, enjoy it much more. So I kind of have done that now and actually fully kind of watched it. And for some reason it's still not kind of, I mean, it's quite enjoyable, and you know, I'm not saying I haven't enjoyed it, but it's not as good as I'd expected it to be from all the kind of popular following that it's had. So yeah, sometimes goes like that, doesn't it? I mean, I always remember, I don't know whether any of you have seen those series, they were called 24, and they were with Kiefer Sutherland. I think there were like about 8 series of that in the end. They're quite old now. So the first one, I mean, my 16-year-old was kind of a baby. So when we watched it, and it had been out for a little while already, so it was a good kind of, at least probably, you know, 12 or 15 years old. But I absolutely loved it. That first series, I mean, some of the series were better than others, but that first series, wow, just kind of mind-blowing how good it was. It was kind of like the second that one ended, it just left you completely kind of like, oh my gosh, put another one on. You know, you couldn't wait to kind of watch the next one. And I haven't really had that with, you know, anything else for a really long time, and it's such a shame, because isn't that so great when you get like something that's so intense and you just absolutely love it. I mean, that 24, it was obviously very far-fetched and kind of extreme, but it was just so good. You know, kind of, they always managed to kind of shock you with people who were kind of going to turn out to be baddies, who you'd kind of maybe watched, you know, a few of the series thinking that they were lovely, and then even they would kind of turn. It was really, really, really good. As I say, I mean, some of the series were better than others, because in the end it got, you know, ridiculous, kind of the far-fetched kind of ways it was going, but it was still very intense and very watchable, you know, even though it was then so ridiculously far-fetched. But yeah, it was really good, really, really good. Right, I'm just going to hot glue this on, because then that will just hold that lace in place and glue the label on, so it's kind of 2 things in one hit. And I'm just going to trim that from the back. So I move that fabric slightly out of the way. Yeah, strangely enough, I'd kind of never really liked Kiefer Sutherland before then. I always just, you know, he wasn't kind of my cup of tea, I think. And I couldn't really see what the fascination was with him. But after watching that, oh, my opinion of him changed completely. And I just loved his, yeah, I just loved him in that. He was just awesome. So if you haven't watched those and you like something that's very intense, don't mind if it's a little bit on the far-fetched side, you know, and obviously it's quite heavy on kind of shooting and things like that, but with a proper story. I mean, it's a proper story. You cannot kind of, you know, be on your laptop or crafting whilst watching it, because literally if you looked away for kind of 10 minutes, you'd have missed kind of vital things going on. So it's a proper sit down and watch. In fact, when we watched it, we all had flu that weekend. My husband, my son, who was only kind of a baby at the time, and myself. And we were kind of, you know, like proper flu where you just can't even get out of bed. We were like that. And it just worked out brilliant, because obviously our son was just asleep kind of all the time. And my husband and I, you know, had no energy to kind of get up and do anything. And we just binge watched the entire weekend. We were like glued to the box set, because it was done in real time. So 24 hours. I think each episode actually was 50 minutes. So you kind of lost like 10 minutes each episode, but it was pretty much kind of, you know, hour for hour. So yeah, it was really, really good. So yeah, if you haven't watched it and you do kind of like things that are quite intense, quite action-packed, and that require kind of a little bit of actual kind of watching rather than dipping in and out and kind of being on your laptop or whatever at the same time. And obviously, you know, I mean, obviously that was a long time ago that I watched them. It may appear very, very dated now. But they're seriously worth giving a go, because they were just absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I can definitely recommend those. Now, my ink pad here is just seriously giving up the ghost now. Let me see if I can glue that back on just whilst we do this episode, and then I will actually change my ink pad. Right. Let's try again. Yeah, I haven't watched anything as intense as that for a really long time. I'm trying to even think of anything much that I've watched and found enjoyable. Obviously, I've talked about the Grand Tour, which is an Amazon Prime thing that we've been watching. It's kind of like Top Gear, but for some reason it seems to be a lot better than Top Gear. You know, a bit more kind of larking about and kind of adventures going on rather than just about the cars. So it's good fun to watch, and we all really like it. Even my daughter, funny enough, says, oh, let's watch a Grand Tour. So yeah, quite odd that even she likes it. But I think because some of what they're doing is just so hilarious, and that even she gets it and finds it, you know, very, very, very funny, because the antics that they kind of get on up to are, you know, very funny. So yeah, we will really enjoying that. Right, so there's my couple of pieces there. Now I'm just wondering whether I need anything else on here or not. Not sure. And then what I might do is just kind of top it maybe with a bit of lace at the top or something. So I'll just have a look and see what trim I've got. Oops. So I might just put kind of that piece just across there. Just like that. You know, literally this is just for kind of a bit of interest, I guess, really. Might just distress that so it's kind of grunged up a little bit, because obviously this is white lace, so it's quite stark compared to my grungy looking piece now. So there we go. There we go. I'm just trying to think whether I've actually seen any good movies lately either. I don't think I really have. It's that time of year, you know, that's kind of not really the season for movie watching. They tend to kind of be, you know, more in the winter, don't they? So I haven't really kind of seen anything worth mentioning. There's a few kind of children's films out at the moment. Toy Story 4 is currently out. Obviously this is filmed kind of ahead of time, so that will be long gone by the time this video goes up. But we're hoping to go and watch that tomorrow, so I'll let you know what that's like. So I might just pop this little flower on here as well, just to kind of finish this off nicely. So there we go. And then I might just pop a little bit of bling on there, just because everything looks better with bling. So I have got some pearls, or I've got some diamante. We'll just see which looks better. Oh, I'm thinking that diamante, because look at that against that napkin. Isn't it lovely? There we go. Just trim that down. Okay. Oops. Oh, I've trimmed off just 2. That was an accident. I meant to trim off 3, so I'll do that again. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that on there like that, and again I'm just going to use the hot glue, popping this piece down like that. Okay. A little bit of hot glue on here as well, just to kind of help that fabric down. So that's one of those little pieces there with the building. Let me just rough this edge up a bit, because it doesn't feel very roughed up. I don't know whether I missed this. No, I think I did. Must have just not really overdone it on that edge, so I'll just distress that there. There we go. So that's one of those pieces with the fussy cut building. Looks really pretty. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. We'll just complete this one. So again, just see what else this one needs. Just had to get rid of that piece of hot glue, because it was just bugging me slightly there. So I've got some ivory lace here. So I might just have a bit of ivory kind of at the top. So just cut that down. Again, I'm just going to cut it off of that kind of header. Sometimes it is nice gathered, but mostly I don't tend to use, whoops, the gathered lace. Just kind of have that like that, I think. So again, let's just pop some of that fabric glue along. Down with some tissue, and then again we could just have a bit of bling. Maybe we'll go for the pearls this time. Oops. There we go. So on our holiday, I'm not sure that we're going to have Wi-Fi all of the time, so yeah, it may be that I'll be even slower than normal kind of replying to emails or anything like that if you kind of sent me comments or emails. I know that some of the places have got Wi-Fi, but definitely by the time we get to France there won't be Wi-Fi. So I won't be kind of accessible for, that's a whole week that we won't have Wi-Fi for. So, which although is a struggle, you know, of course that is a struggle to be without Wi-Fi. It's kind of also quite liberating, because, you know, I just think we live so much of our lives these days now by Wi-Fi that actually it's really kind of nice to actually be without it for a bit. Because generally, you know, we're never ever without it, are we, these days? You know, I mean, thank goodness, because actually, you know, if for any reason the internet's kind of not working, you feel a bit like your arm's been cut off. But, you know, it is kind of nice to, you know, have a break from it. And literally that's the only time is when we go to France. That's the only time that we're ever without Wi-Fi. So yeah, I'm going to put that there in that butterfly. So yes, if I'm even slower than usual at replying, that's why. There we go. So, and that's the other piece, which I think looks super cute with the buildings. So again, hopefully you can kind of see how that one looks. I'm going to just pull in the journal to give you a bit of an idea of how those would look. Now, as I say, these, you know, they could be used as tags, or obviously kind of on a page as a little kind of tuck spot or a piece on a page like that. So that's one of them. And that's the other one. I have to be truthful and say that one's my favourite, but I do like either of them. You know, I think they're both really cute. So that's those ones. Have we got time? Let me see what the time is. We're up to 31 minutes, so we can probably just quickly cram in doing our little piece, fussy cutting the Victoria Plum images. So I'm going to kind of kiss cut these a bit more because obviously I can't, well, I could get right in and I may trim them down further actually in a moment, but I'm just going to start by kind of kiss cutting them, which is that kind of kiss, that cutting kind of, you know, with a little bit of a kind of edge to it. So we just cut that like that. Okay, just going to cut that because it just makes it a bit easier for kind of actually cutting it out. So just cut that. So, and actually sometimes, you know, I actually find things more fun from the kids' book images when I cut them, you know, fussy cut around them than actually using them in their entirety. I mean, the main problem I find is I kind of get drawn loving the entire picture, i.e. with the background. And so I end up using the entire picture because I love the background. But I do equally, oh, I have to keep that now. I do equally love it when I get, you know, kind of something like this page, for instance, or this page, or this, which is perfect, where you could just fussy cut, you know, individual creatures, elements, the tree, you know, kind of, you know, they are really kind of fun to use. And obviously you can kind of mix and match then those kinds of items. So I'm just going to kind of bring this one back because this was what we've used with the Victoria Plum images previously. So I'm just kind of sticking with them really. You know, just because obviously that kind of is where we've been using them already. So that's kind of on there. Now I'm just going to cut this down, or I could just kind of tear around it. So what we could do, let's see, could make this into like a little kind of corner piece. So let's do that. Okay, pop that down. So we're going to use that like that. So again, what I probably would do now is actually kind of strengthen this by just sticking some book page on behind it. So I'm just going to grab some book page again. Just use a piece from that encyclopedia that I'm not kind of fussed about using. So, oops, I'm just fiddling around with the encyclopedia here. I'm not doing anything interesting off the camera. So just kind of like that. And then I'm going to have to excuse the back of this. I've obviously been double-sided printing. This is some more collage pages that I've been kind of playing around with, so I don't think I've completed them and they're in my shop yet. But I may be wrong. Right. Just going to glue that up like that. Just help it out by spreading it slightly with my little card. Okay. And then again, just like kind of we've done on previous ones, we're just going to tear around there as close as we can, kind of to the edge of the paper, or cardstock. There we go. So if this was going to be kind of a little corner tuck spot like that, and then we're going to just have that little cute image on there. So I've brought along a little bit of fabric and things that I thought might go quite nicely. So I've got this bit here. No, I don't think that one. Got this fabric here, which that is kind of cute, isn't it? Or I have got some blue, which maybe would be better still. Oh yes, the blue looks it's weird, isn't it, how just suddenly you kind of think, oh yeah, definitely that one. So I'm going to start by kind of cutting quite a large piece, and then we can kind of work back from there. So just fold that over, just trying to be tidy rather than make my workspace even more of a tip than it already is. So we can kind of pop that onto that fabric, I think. So just going to cut kind of around there. Okay, and then because I've obviously cut around that now rather than tear it, I'm just going to kind of squash it up into a kind of cone so I can get to the edges, and I'm just going to kind of ruffle that up with the scissors. Just so I've kind of created a little bit of kind of a frayed edge rather than really neat and tidy around it. So that's kind of all I'm doing there. Okay, super cute. So we're just going to pop that on there like that. And then we just want to kind of pop a couple of other things on there for kind of decoration. So obviously we've got some red here. So I have got some red ruffle, some of my hand stitched kind of ruffle. I don't know whether this will be, kind of whether it would tie in or not, but let's give that a try somewhere. Oh yeah, that's cute, isn't it? So we could kind of have that there. Like that. Or perhaps it needs to go that way actually. Okay, I may glue some stuff down in a moment, so just having a look to see what else I've got kind of laying around here that would kind of tie in. Just see whether I've got anything kind of, glaringly obvious at the moment, so bear with me. Got this bright green flower. I don't know whether this has been folded in too many times. I'm not going to be able to kind of unwind it, but we'll give it a try. Oh no, yep, that's unwinding fine. Sometimes they've been glued kind of a bit too in and I can't then get them undone. So, and that flower's just picking up that green from her hat, I think. So we could have that kind of popped on there, which is pretty cute, isn't it? Could have like a little ticket or something poking out. And then let's just have a look just if I've got anything else that is going to kind of complement that or look cute with that. So just bear with me for a moment. I've got this brown flower. Oops. Just wondering whether we need that kind of going along that way instead. Yeah, I think I prefer it across the top. So I'm just going to glue this fabric down so that we're kind of committed there. So again, I'm just still sticking with that fabric glue. Just going to kind of ruffle that up slightly more, and I'm just going to cut it round slightly here because that was a little bit straight on that kind of corner. So we just pop that one down. Again, let me just get some tissue because it's very gluey. Right, I'm going to glue this piece on. Okay. Just dab that excess glue off of there. Like that. Okay, now what else we can do here is just go slightly down the edge with that honey, what was it called? What was that called? Wild honey ink pad. So we've used that obviously on our other couple of pieces. So we're just, oops, and I just want to do it again very lightly because it's quite a strong colour, and because the ink pad obviously is new, so it's pretty juicy. So just being kind of, you know, not kind of inking it too much when I'm dipping it into the pad. There we go. So that looks cute, cute, cute. And then we're just going to go around this a little bit with the wild honey as well. Might tuck that kind of in behind there. Gonna have our little fabric ruffle going across the top like that. Oh, that's so cute, isn't it? And then we're gonna have our flower just here. Just there, I think. Oh, so cute. So let's just glue this on. So this is just a stamp ticket. I think it's from those Crafty Individuals stamps. So we just pop that on there. And we just glue this one down. Like that. And then we'll top that with this greeny colour one. And I mean, as I say, I love working with the kind of children's books because they're such a great excuse to get really colourful. You know, I love using colour. So, you know, for me, this is just right up my street to be able to kind of use all these different beautiful colours. So really, you know, can have lots of fun, I think, with the children's books. Okay. Oh, trying to take care of my nails. I've already dabbed it with the ink pad. Oh, twice. Uh-oh. Well, hopefully that will kind of come off. I'm not sure. Right. Cute, cute, cute. So that's that. Now, do we want to have a little button in the middle of here? Yep, I would like one. But I don't want to sit here for hours kind of searching through my little button bag. So, and I still haven't put any smaller buttons in. So just bear with me. I will try and do that after this video today, so that I'm a little bit more prepared next time. Having to kind of sift through to see what kinds of things we've got. Oh, that's quite nice. Because some tiny ones might have just sunk to the bottom, so you know, it's worth kind of really checking. Got some hot glue threads there. No, they're all quite big, so I might just go for that yellow one. It's quite nice with the, you know, picking up the yellow from their scarves and things as well. So I just want to glue that in there. How cute does that look? Right. So that is your little piece where we fussy cut out, obviously, the pieces from the Victoria Plum book. So that's kind of your little examples of actually fussy cutting out the kind of images from the book. You know, kind of using things, you know, more out of the ordinary, I guess, like not your normal kind of flowers or birds, but actually, you know, using some buildings and the kids book characters and things like that. So just, you know, an example of how cute really that they can look. So hope that you enjoyed the episode, and you know, if you kind of give it a whirl, I hope you have a bit of fun making your little pieces as well. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Thanks then. Bye.